Architecture school can be hard work, but also very rewarding. At first, it may be very different to anything you've experienced before, so I'm going to share a little bit about what you can expect. If you're new here, my name is Liz Watt and welcome. I create content and resources for architecture students to help you learn faster and easier about design, documenting and creating. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe. Today I want to talk about what architecture school is like, in particular the type of study you might do and the types of classes you'll attend. Let's get started. So starting architecture school can be very different to anything you've experienced before. Most of the things that you'll learn are unique to the practice of architecture, and so you're unlikely to have encountered much of the content before, unless you've done some previous study or reading in architecture. But don't worry, most of the other students will be in exactly the same position. So when you start architecture school, the way you learn may be very different to school, and there will definitely be some things to get used to. The main things to get used to are the way you study and learn and the types of classes you will attend. The big difference between sort of school and any college or university course is that you're now engaging in independent adult learning. So you are choosing to be at architecture school and no one is going to make you be there or chase you if you're not. In your first weeks, your tutors, if they're really generous, may reach out via email if you're not attending classes. But if you're in a big architecture school with hundreds of students, no one has the time to make sure you're getting to class, and it's not their responsibility. This means you really have to take responsibility for your own learning and make the choice to get organized, go to class, and do the work. You have to be disciplined and consistent and get yourself into good habits and routines from the start. You need to figure out what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how it's going to get done. The workload at architecture school, or any design school for that matter, is big. Probably bigger than most of your friends studying business or science or anything really. So you may find some of your friends in other disciplines or courses skipping classes, cramming at the last minute, or writing an essay hours before it's due. Architecture and design disciplines are not like this. It just doesn't work like that. They require rigorous and consistent work, and to do well, you'll most likely have to do more than the recommended workload and required hours. And that is just the truth of it. It's the way it kind of is. Architecture students will often be found building models or finishing drawings in the middle of the night, especially towards the end of semester, or using their weekends and mid-semester breaks or holidays to finish a project or learn a new skill or software. At architecture school, you will encounter a wide range of students who have come from different backgrounds and have a diverse range of experience and skills. The first year of architecture school can be a little daunting. Some people will be really good at drawing or design or graphic presentation or software or documentation or just talking about stuff. Some people will work incredibly hard and others not so much. You may find that many students decide architecture is not for them, while others just adore it and pretty much live and breathe architecture and nothing else. And everyone else is somewhere in between. Architecture and design disciplines can be very competitive, and this can sort of depend on the culture of the school that you do attend. Students can constantly compare themselves to others in terms of skills and knowledge and capabilities and ideas and grades. So it's important to understand, especially in early years, that everyone has different skills, and over time this can really level out, and that architecture as a profession offers a wide range of opportunities for all these different skills. You don't have to be the best concept designer or software guru in the world if you're great at understanding how buildings are constructed and how they go together, or how to run a project. It's really up to you to find the parts of architecture you enjoy and interest you and really bring that into your work. It's up to you to constantly take responsibility for your learning, to figure out what you're great at and what you love and focus on that. Something unique to architecture school is the range of learning styles. So while more theoretical subjects can follow fairly traditional modes of study like assignments or essays and exams, architecture is really primarily a design discipline, which means that you need to expect to be creative, to engage in critical thinking, analysis and problem solving, and to experiment, explore and test ideas, as well as play and make and draw and design. There's also opportunity to work in a studio culture where you may work with other students to research, analyze, or explore ideas, or review and critique each other's work, both in and out of the classroom. So creating a study group and working and studying with other students is a great way to develop your learning. Much of architecture is about learning through testing, experimenting, and exploring, and it is this process of developing your understanding that is as important as the final outcome and showing your understanding. So you'll do this in a range of different classes. So if you have any specific questions about architecture school or the way you learn, please let me know in the comments. The first thing you'll notice about architecture school are the range of classes that you'll take. Many of these may contain content that may be unfamiliar and new to you. So from the start of your studies, you will most likely have a design studio every semester, which are a large focus of your degree. Design studios are an unusual environment, so for each studio you'll be given one or more projects and you'll generally be asked to design an architectural or spatial structure or solution for people. You'll be taken through a creative design process where you're introduced to a project brief and the requirements of the project. You'll undertake research and analysis to understand what is required by the project and what the opportunities are. You'll then be asked to explore many different options for possible solutions to the project. So be prepared to draw, sketch, diagram, collage, make models, and explore your ideas through a whole range of different mediums. Be prepared to revise your work multiple times, constantly testing and refining your ideas and design with many different iterations. You rarely do something once and then that's it in design studios. Be prepared to do lots and lots of work and to work constantly and consistently. You will be assessed on your ideas, processes, and the weekly development, as well as your final presentation. And finally, be prepared to fail, make mistakes, and get things wrong and right in the process of learning. In your early years, you will study history and theory, which will give you some good foundation knowledge and skills. Architectural history will include case studies of architectural styles as well as buildings, architects and other structures and designs. It may also consider the relationship of architecture to society, art, design, psychology and many other disciplines. Architectural theory includes study and understanding of architectural elements and principles and how they're used in architecture and can be used in architecture and then taken into your design projects. The importance of this subject is that it provides sort of an underlying theory and ideas that should be addressed and utilized in your design projects and into your career. Much of this content forms really important foundations of knowledge in your work as an architect and designer. In these subjects, you'll generally be assessed with essays, assignments, or exams. The specific content and focus on different aspects of history and theory will vary between universities and institutions. In your first year, you may undertake a communication subject or two. So communications is literally about how to communicate as an architect. It's about the different graphic and three-dimensional tools that architects use to communicate their ideas about space and buildings and structures. There are many different analog, digital, and three-dimensional communication tools, including different drawing types, diagrams, collage, mapping, physical model making, digital software, architectural drawing and documentation systems, and specific presentation techniques. So if you do have communication classes, they'll introduce you to these ideas, and there may be a lot of independent study and activities to help improve your knowledge and skills. So it's up to you to learn and apply these tools and take them into your design studios and develop your interest and understanding of architectural communication throughout your design career and start to develop your own style and your own way of communicating within the framework and accepted conventions. Some institutions may not have specific communication classes, but the development of different architectural communication skills such as drawing, software, or model making may be built into other subjects. So you'll undertake construction classes throughout much of your studies, and these will introduce you to building systems, materials, and how buildings and structures and the pieces actually go together to form the final building. You'll also learn how to design, document, and draw a building in detail so that a builder can actually build it as well as a lot of terminology that's used in industry and throughout your studies and career. Construction is about understanding how to practically take your design and those ideas into something that can actually be built, and that process of converting the idea to reality. The materials and systems you learn about will become more complex as you move through your degree. They may also be referred to as technology classes, which could include learning about broader aspects of buildings such as sustainable design or more complex or unique building systems. You'll learn theory and may have assignments or exams, or be asked to research materials and building systems and design and document part of a structure using particular materials and building systems. Sometimes part of your assessment will be to solve how some of your design studio project would be built in real life, and that can be really interesting when you're bringing the two together. During your studies, you may have other classes such as professional practice, which will help prepare you for your work as an architect after you finish school. You may have a range of elective subjects to choose from that refer to a more specific area of architectural practice and theory. These areas of interest could include various software programs, sustainability, economic urban design, connections to society, impacts on psychology, building types, or a really diverse range of other topics. Architecture and buildings affect so much of our society. It's all really connected. What's important here is to choose elective subjects that you're interested in, or to help you explore and find things that you're interested in. The important thing about all your classes is to remember that you are not cramming for an exam. You are learning fundamental information that's forming the basis of your knowledge as an architect and designer, and will be used in every project and built on throughout your career. So summing up, architecture school is hard work if you want to do well, or sometimes even if you just want to pass. Like most design disciplines, it is not something easy to just breeze through, but if it is your thing, it can be really rewarding and provide you with a variety of career opportunities and areas of interest. Architecture should be treated as a lifelong practice, and architecture school is just an introduction to your learning. It's not the end. There's a lot to learn to be a good architect, and everything you learn is important to your practice, and it continues throughout your entire career. It's up to you to consider how committed you are, how much you love it, and what areas of architecture and design really interest you. An architecture school should be considered an important start of this process and not the final destination. So if you have any questions or comments about starting architecture school, or being partway through or finishing, please let me know in the comments. If you want to know more, hit the notification button and consider subscribing to this channel, because I have a ton of content to share to help you learn faster and make studying and practicing architecture easier. While you wait for the next episode, make sure you check out some of my other work. That's everything for today. I hope you found it helpful and kind of gave you an understanding of what to expect if you're just starting out. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.